today I am here with Sally Dia, and she is a Danish Canadian independent solo artist based in Berlin, Germany. How's it going, Sally?
It's going good. How's it
Good.
going?
Good. Glad to hear. Okay, so first question is, how long have you been making music?
Um, well, I've been making I guess I started trying to make music when I was 9, 10 years old. I started a band with my best friend slash classmate, and we were really trying to write songs, but we had no idea how to realize the music we wanted to make. I like the Beatles, she liked Deep Purple, and we both like pop music. So I don't know how any of that could come together. We didn't have the musical background. And then when I was 15, I again started another band with my classmate slash best friend Vanessa. And again, we didn't know how to realize or write songs well. They weren't really good. But then when I was 17, that's when we still had the same band and we started to actually write songs we liked and recorded and played shows. So I always kind of think 17 is when I was really starting to write music, make music. But all those years up until then, I think is still an important part of the process. You know, you always think, okay, now this is the time you make music, but you need all those years before to kind of find your way.
Yeah, right. You gotta go through the process of the journey to like get to the end.
For sure.
Nice. And so what got you, I guess what got you into music? Like what drew you to it? It's just kind of like
Um, I it's hard for me to find like the pinpoint of like what exactly that was that made me want to make music. I think when I was a kid, I got introduced to the Beatles from my neighborhood friend's dad. He was always playing the Beatles, and I was really like, wow, like hearing the Beatles, and I thought they were so cool, you know, like playing these songs with your friends, having this kind of club, which is a band. And so I think for me, that was kind of the beginning of wanting to create a band. And that's was close to when I started to try to make the band with my friends. So maybe it was that the Beatles, I'm not sure. Maybe it was just maybe I always wanted to make music naturally, but yeah, it's hard
yeah.
to say.
Okay. That's cool though. So what genre would you say that your music is in?
It's hard for me to say because with since my song "It's You I'm Thinking of," I've started to experiment with different sounds. Like my later songs are more acoustic, maybe indie sounding, and I also did like a piano instrumental. But then my earlier songs are more 80s dark wave. So I think just it's easier for people because they know me in the dark wave genre, that scene. I always just will say dark wave, but my new songs are not so dark wave sounding.
Yeah. Cool.
It's confusing, I guess.
Yeah, it's always a hard question to pinpoint sometimes, you know?
Yeah, sure.
Um, and so I guess to help like people and listeners, I guess line your music where it would be. So instead of asking you like what other artists you sound like, if you were like to put a show together with like two or three other artists, like of any artist, who would that be? Like you and who else?
Whoa. Well, I have played the most shows with Molly Nielsen, so I think that for promoters made sense, you know, and I can totally see why. We were both female solo artists running our own labels, recording and our songs in our bedroom, and we perform solo on stage. So I guess that would make sense if we were two artists that can go together for a gig. I think that the Choir Boy is a really great band. I like that they have acoustic sound in their songs. It's kind of pop acoustic indie, but also has like an 80s sound to it, a little bit lo-fi. And I think that could also work. And I think for the other artists on the bill, I really like my friend Martha Rose's music. She's sang on some of my songs and she's also played violin on some of my songs. And it's a bit more romantic, dreamy, um, kind of feminine sounding, but yeah, I really like her music so much. So I think that would be a nice bill.
Nice, I like that.
And maybe if Molly, if we should play another show together, we can put her on the bill too. Just
Yeah, right. And then so who would be your, like, dream collaboration if you could work with anyone out there, like, who would that be?
I always thought a dream collaboration would be with Sinead O'Connor because okay, she's not alive anymore, but
Yeah,
sh yeah, I always loved what she stood for. I always thought she was like the punkest of all artists. She was always against the grain, and she, especially as a pop artist, she did everything people didn't want her to do, and always spoke her truth and spoke about things people didn't want to talk about. And I thought she is so cool, but since she passed recently, I I think I would love to collaborate with a contemporary artist. I'm not sure who at the moment, um, but maybe also an artist similar who's running an independent artist who writes their own songs and perhaps a solo artist. But I'm not sure. I was always thinking Sinead O'Connor's the
oh,
cool thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because you said that you're always like the Beatles and stuff. Is there any other, like, musical inspirations that you kind of lean towards when you write stuff, or
Um, I feel it's always hard for me when to answer like what sounds inspire me, but if I will be really honest, like which artists inspire me have always been artists who have done what they wanted to do when people tell them they shouldn't do that, whether it's like industry saying you can't do that, whether it's like the technical side saying technicians saying you shouldn't do that. Like for example, I always mention Enya when I work with people because or show people my songs for mixes because I work with a lot of vocal layers, and oftentimes people say you can't do that, you can't work with so much vocal layers, but then you think of Enya who works with like 400 layers of her vocals, and she's always would write in her contract that she needs 3 years to write an album, which on a major label they want you to do as fast as possible, but she
yeah.
had her principles of how she wanted to make music. And like talk about Sinead O'Connor, how she some of her songs were kind of like almost not so conventional pop songs, but almost like poems. They just like sound like you're listening to someone reading their diary with music. And I think that's so interesting in that pop format. And other artists who wanted to also have run their own labels. So anytime I've ever felt myself in doubt or doubt about what I want to do or my sound, especially when people tell me you can't do that, I always think of those artists who just said, no, this is what I want to do. So that has always been the most inspirational to me rather than, this band Devo or the Beatles. It's people who've just been like, no, this is what I want to do. And I'm not changing it.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, people that just, like, they knew what they wanted to do and didn't matter what anyone else said, like, "I'm gonna make it happen."
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and so how do you go about, like, writing your songs? Do you have, like, a process? Does it kinda change?
It's always different. Sometimes I will sit down with keyboard and just go through the chords, try to find a melody, and then from there I'll fit like a loose song structure. Sometimes I will work on just the drum beats first, get like a nice rhythm section. Sometimes I just with the instrument finding melodies and building on that. And recently, which has actually really helped me, is just putting films in the timeline and like trying to find music to that film, and I'll choose like, oh, 3 instruments. So and that's helped me a lot because sometimes it's like so open, like, well, where do I start? So it depends. It's like always different, but one of those ones, and then I build from there.
Cool. Um, and so what's your, like, favorite part about making music, I guess? Like, do you have something, like, that you lean towards that you're like, "Yes, I love it when this happens," or something?
I love so much getting lost in the process of making music. Like I love when everyone like when it's the AM hours, everyone's gone to sleep, it's quiet, and you're just so immersed in your music with your headphones, and you feel like you're in another world, and it takes you away from all the stress, things in your life that are really bringing you down, and you just feel so free. And I love that feeling. And I also love the feeling when you collaborate with other musicians or artists, and this energy that comes when you're all together creating something, the excitement, and just, or even like when I was playing in a band and you would just jam for hours and like something would come out of it. And I think that is like the amazing part, the way you get lost in the process of making the music.
Yeah, that's cool. Um, and are you currently playing shows out, or are you,
No, I'm not, I don't have any. I haven't been playing shows since, I guess, just before the pandemic, and I haven't played any since. But I hope I will soon. But I haven't. I don't have any shows coming up.
okay. Yeah, well, we look forward to it.
Yeah.
Um, if you had to describe your music only using 3 words, what would they be?
Hmm. I feel okay. Going back to what I was saying about finding them, like what sounds inspire you. With genres, sometimes I feel like it can be a bit of a trap, like as an artist, when you're in the cage, it's hard to break out of the cage, even mentally. You're like, okay, I'm a dark wave artist. What if I want to break out? And it's kind of plays on, especially for me wanting to play different styles of music. So if I were to find 3 words I think are more freeing for myself, I would choose words like maybe like romantic, because I feel like through my different styles of music, I always feel like there's a bit of romanticism, and people often describe it as that. Um, and I think like, um, well, maybe melancholic. Some of my songs lean more into the melancholic feeling, and even melodic, because I always try with my vocals to find hooky melodies. And even when I did the instrumental piano track, I really wanted to find even melodic hooks that get stuck in my mind. So I'm always leaning on that. So maybe those 3 keywords.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah, those are some good ones.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Uh, so the song "It's You I'm Thinking Of," that's what's on the Indie Revolving playlist right now, and that came out in 2020, I believe. How do you, like, still feel about the song? Do you still like it? Do you ever, like, go back and listen like, "Oh, I could change this, I could change that," or, like, how do you feel about it still?
Of course, every time you listen back to your songs, you're like, oh, then maybe those vocals should be louder or whatever. But yeah, I still like it. I really love that track. I think it was the perfect song for me to choose for transitioning into from the like electronic 80s dark wave sound into this new sound I was experimenting with the acoustic instruments. I think that was like the right song, because I could have chose a different one, but I think that one was the right one, and people really resonated with it. So
Yeah.
I still like the song.
Yeah, no, I like it. I heard it and I was like, "This has to go on the playlist."
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah.
Um, and can you walk us through, like, the making and recording of that song a little bit?
When I made that song, I intentionally wanted to make a pop song. So I was like, I want to make a pop song. So I sat down with my keyboard, and the chord progressions are all very simple pop chord progressions. Um, and I just sat down. I was like, okay, I'm gonna find the chorus that's gonna feel catchy, and the verses that's gonna like feel catchy, and I just want to write like a yeah pop song. And so I had a rough loose sketch of the structure with the vocals and the chords, and then from there I was just building the melodies that come in the chorus and the guitars. It was still kind of patchy, and I was visiting a near friend who lived nearby, and he was showing me all his instruments. I was like, wow, so cool. He had so many string instruments, and he showed me the mandolin he had, and I thought I always wanted a mandolin, and he let me borrow it. And I was playing the mandolin at home. I thought, okay, this actually could maybe work in the song. So I brought it in the bridge because the bridge was empty. I'm always very bad with writing bridges. They're always like a question mark, like, how do I put this together? So I used the mandolin for the bridge, and then I just started bringing it into the choruses, and then my friend Mounus, he would come by and give feedback to the track as I would work on it, and we were talking about, oh, it could be cool to have live drums because if I'm doing this different sound, why not bring live drums? So he arranged with his bandmate to record at his bandmate studio, record the live drums, which I brought the program drums, and he would just like mimic the program drums, playing it live. And then from there, it's always the same process for people who work on their tracks at home. It's just all the time with editing, comping, and uh, my friend Maunus, he recorded the bass and he added a little bit of guitars, sounds, sprinkled sounds in the bridge, which I cut up and arranged. And my friend Martha Rose also lended her backing vocals. And then again, once I cleaned it up, edited it, had it ready to go, then I brought it to my friend Odne who mixed it. So
Nice. That's
that's the process.
yeah.
Yep.
It's cool always like seeing all the different things, like start coming together.
Yeah, for sure. But I tell you, the most time you spend when you're artist writing alone is just at home editing, editing takes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I believe it. Um, and then there's a music video for what you're thinking of too, I believe. What was it like making that video? Like, how did you go about doing that?
The video, kind of like the song, very simple setup. Um, I I thought because the song is a little different than my earlier tracks, I thought, okay, I should try to do something a little different in the video as well. And one simple thing was that in my earlier music videos, I was never playing my instruments in the videos. And I thought, okay, that's like a very simple thing I will do differently. I will play my instruments in in the video. And so for the scenes, the lip sync scenes, I filmed it myself. I filmed it in my hallway. There was like this light bulb that would hang on a cable, and I just would swing it so the light bulb would just swing, and that's why there's like this light changing on my face. And for the outdoor and indoor scenes where I'm playing my instruments, I asked my friend Davina, who has helped me with um, some of my previous videos. She helped film those scenes, and yeah, for the styling, which I am not good at styling, and I did not have a budget for costumes and such. I just wrote my most stylish friend, and she came by, and I showed her all my clothes, and I said, "Okay, just can you just help me put something together?" And that was it. So that was like that was the making of the video. Just very simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and so because it looks like because you do, I believe you make all your music videos yourself. Is that correct? So how do you like get your ideas for your videos? Like, is there anything you pull from specifically, or do you just kind of like write the song and then the video, or video and then the song?
I use well when I'm writing the music. Oftentimes the the visuals are already coming to my mind as I'm writing. I can already see the visuals, and that's often how I will have video ideas. Or if not that, I will just put the song on repeat, go for long walks. Nighttime is a great time for getting visual ideas, and just when you hear the song on repeat and you're walking, like visuals start coming, and then that's where I start to take those ideas and then put it together.
Nice,
You
nice.
know,
And then just like with the music, is there anything in particular you love about making the videos?
I love well, for one, I'm a big fan of music videos. I love that you bring a visual to the sound. I love that you introduce a sort of world to your audience, and I love watching other bands' music videos. But apart from that, I the process is so magical as well. I when you're working with other people who are you're going on this journey together with, and you're creating something, and especially for me, I'm always like practically zero budget, so you have to be so imaginative to solve problems, and that's what comes with making music videos and with the group of people like trying to solve problems together and creating together. It's like such an it's like again like being in a band when you're collaborating with other people. It's like such a magical experience. Like people just coming together to create.
Yeah, that's cool. And, do you are you planning on releasing any new music soon?
Yeah, I'm working on just finishing finally some songs, which I feel like I've worked on for a while. Um, I hope it will be soon, but even when you say soon, like even if I have a song like right now, it always takes like 2 months because you have to put it on your distributor streaming and they always need like 2 months in advance. So even when you say soon, it's not totally like next week.
Yeah,
Um, but I'm really hoping it's gonna be soon, finishing these giant, these huge songs I've been working on. It's
nice.
coming to an end. Yeah.
Well, looking forward to hearing it.
Yeah.
And where's the best place for people to keep up to date with you? Like, is there a specific social media platform that people should go?
I use all the platforms because I know some people only use, this platform or use that one. So I try to use all of them. Of course, I'm not okay, maybe I don't use like I don't know, Snapchat a thing or
Oh, yeah.
was Threads. Sometimes it's like, okay, I can't use all, it's just too much. But I try to use the main ones and I try to post all on there regularly-ish. And whenever there's new updates, I try to post on them all. I also have my mailing list, which is silly. I have not set it up where new people can join it yet, but I'm in the works of doing that. So I guess that will probably be the most reliable way for people to get updates because it will go to your email versus if the algorithm will show the post. But
Yeah,
I think if you just choose one of the main ones to follow and check up, then you'll see my updates.
awesome. Sweet. And then I think we're getting pretty much to the end. Although there's one last question, which I think I forgot to put in the list of questions. But this is
Wait.
the most important question, I would say, is what's your favorite food?
Ooh, that's a good question. I hmm, I really like Asian foods. Like I was thinking about this. A lot of people always say pizza, and I never cared about pizza. Like I always feel like it's just like really fancy toast. A burger is like a fancy sandwich. So I want something that I know I'm not because I eat toast all the time. I don't want a fancy toast. So I like something where it's like curries or things that take more time. And I'm like, I'm not going to be making that all the time. So I like Vietnamese curries, things like that. I'm also loves I have a big sweet tooth, so I love anything with I like chocolate and sugary things. Not
Uh,
so good. Yeah.
Good.
What's your favorite food, by the way?
Oh man, I had the question and I don't even know the answer. Oh man. Man, why is that so hard? It's like I'm thinking of, like everything I've ever eaten in my
Whole life is just like like a buffet in your mind.
yeah. Maybe I don't know if this is weird, but like I guess fried chicken to
That's
me.
good.
Yeah,
Did you make it yourself or did you
I don't.
like
I mean, my sister actually makes it, and she's really good at making it. So, but I can't
okay.
cook it myself.
Do you use like a deep fryer or how does she do it?
I think she's used a deep fryer. I think what's the other way? Is it like can you? I think you can just put like oil in a pot, right, and kinda like put it
Yeah.
in. I think she's done it that way too.
My grandma used to make really good fried chicken. I guess she would do it also on the pan and she put flour and then she would fry it and then she would put it in the oven and bake. It was so good. Like I just remembered like when she would come and make the fried chicken like that.
That sounds
Yeah.
good. I really
Yeah.
want to try. I haven't tried it myself yet, but they've taken like like Cheetos, the cheese puffs, and like
Yeah.
crushed it up, and then use that as like the breading for your
What?
fried chicken, and then you fry it. Like,
Whoa.
you need to try this.
I've never heard of that. I saw the weirdest okay, so this little I saw the weirdest thing also on, like, Instagram that showed up. It was, like, someone called it ice cream bread, where they took ice cream and then they basically make it like a cake and they mixed it with the flour and sugar. It looked like sugar overload, but then they baked it. It was like, oh my god, I never thought of combining that.
There's, like, so many weird things you can find. It's like, should I try
Oh,
that?
that's good. Fried chicken's good.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think that's all the questions, and I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
It was great chatting with you.